Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping in today. I'm back with a new layout for the Paige Evans design team, and I'm going to be using Paige's Go the Scenic Route collection, and I'm going to be making a very bright butterfly page today. I've been eyeballing this paper ever since I opened this collection, and I was just in the mood to do some fussy cutting, so that's where I'm going to start. I actually pulled this paper from the 12 by 12 paper pad, but if you have the loose sheets, it's paper number 20. And I just love all these colors. I've said that on every single layout that I've made using this collection, but I can't help it. I just feel compelled to use all the colors, and so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I've got a lot of those cut out, and I was feeling yellow for some reason today, and I have a pool photo to share. I'm taking a break from scrapping Christmas stuff, and I'm going to scrap a pool photo. So what I was thinking, I tend to want to use a lot of blue when I'm scrapping a pool photo, but I wanted to challenge myself to go with a different color. So I'm going to go with yellow, and this is paper number 14. So I just tore a big, kind of a diagonal chunk of it, and I'm going to glue it to some textured white cardstock. And so I'm going to kind of have almost a half and half background, half pattern paper and half white. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down so my background is complete as far as what I know it's going to look like. And once I had this done, I kind of had my design idea just kind of happen in my brain. And I thought that I would put the photo kind of down on the lower left-hand section and then have the butterflies kind of shoot out from the photo, kind of following the arc of the torn edges of the paper. So before I do any of that, though, I'm going to jazz up the background. I'm using both clear and white gesso today. I'm going to go with clear on the white cardstock that you just saw me do there, and then I'm going to go with white on the pattern paper. Now, I like to use clear on white paper because the white gesso tends to look a little bit more yellow when you use it on white because the two whites are different. I'm using the white gesso on the pattern paper because I want to white out or fade out some of those white dots. And if I use clear, it would just dry clear. So the white kind of acts as a paint in a way, but it's still prepping the paper for all the stuff that I'm going to put on top of it, but it also gives me a little bit of white space, and it kind of fades out some of the pattern and the color, which is what I'm going to do here. And I'm just using my little 2-inch silicone brush there and my fingers to kind of smudge and blend that. So my background is ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and get some white tissue paper and some adhesive foam behind the photo there so I can have that ready to go. And that's where I want the picture to go. And I'm going to practice here and just go ahead and start to put the butterflies down. They're probably going to change, but I just wanted to see what it would look like before I started adding anything to the background. I just want it to look like this big old group of butterflies just sort of flew out from behind the picture and all kind of toward the right direction. And I like how that looks, so I'm going to start to add color to the background. Okay, so what I thought I would do is add a couple different shades of yellow to the yellow side, just to kind of add some variation. And so I'm going to start with some of my shimmers colors, and these are some of my go-to shimmers that I use all the time. This is a Vibes called Mustard Seed, and it's a really pretty golden yellow. And I'm just going to start there and see how this looks. I'm going to wind up adding in lots of other things here, but I'm going to start with the yellow section. And on the white section, I'm going to go with some aquas and some blues. And if the two mix together to create a little bit of a green, that's okay, because I have some green going on in the butterflies. So this is kind of a rainbow layout, meaning that all the rainbow colors are pretty much represented. So I'm okay if the colors blend, because the photo is actually going to cover up that little section right there where the colors meet anyway, so I'm not too concerned what that looks like. But I'm using Jenny Bee Blue, and what other colors? I'm going to use Snow Way Man, and I'm going to use Well Blew Me Down. I believe those are the blue shades that I'm going to use here. I'm adding a little bit of water, and I'm just tilting the page and letting it kind of run and blend and create its own little shape. I'm trying to kind of keep the blue in the arc of the torn yellow paper, kind of in the midsection there, a little bit down on the bottom, and then a little bit up at the top. And it's okay if it kind of bleeds into the edges of the yellow paper. Like you see there, I'm trying to roll it up, because when it dries, I think it kind of creates this fun transition color. I don't know, it just winds up working, I think. And you'll see here once it's done. This looks like a big old wet, soggy, hot mess, I know, and it is, but once it's done and once it's dry, I think it's going to look really cool. And I do want this to be a lot darker, so I'm going to let that dry a little bit. I'm going to keep working on it. I'm going to see how these colors look at this point. And then I pulled out one Distress Oxide to try another shade of yellow on the yellow paper, and this is called Fossilized Amber. I love the Distress Oxides. I don't use a lot of it, but I just tried it on the yellow section there to kind of darken it up, and it winds up kind of being the same color as the pattern paper. So I reached for another Shimmers color that's more of a darker golden color, and it's called Glorious Day, and I really like how that color looks. So you can kind of see where I faded out the white dots and created more of a solid yellow color. I'm going to keep working on it. I'm going to be adding something else to that as we go. That's the Snow Way Man and the Well Blue Me Down colors that I just added there. So my thought process behind these color selections were, since I'm using a pool photo, a lot of times I like to create something that makes me think of the sun, and then something that makes me think of the sky. And so yellow and blue are those two things. Even though this is not in the shape of a sun or a sky, you can still create the illusion of that feeling or of that effect by using the same colors. And so that's what I'm going to do here. And yeah, it's bleeding all over the yellow paper, but it's okay. It dries a lot lighter, and I think it looks kind of like a shading, shadowy type effect once it's dry. I was kind of worried about it at this point. I thought, I think I've ruined the edges of this yellow paper, but I'm just going to keep going, because, you know, when things are wet, they look one way, and then when they dry, sometimes they change, they look different. So we're going to keep working at it here. So once I kept bringing the photo back on top of the background, I realized that I wanted more intense color around the photo, because if you look at the photo, she's in the pool, but it's the way the sun was shining, it's really bright, and so you can't really see a lot of the blue water. Ooh, look at the shimmer. I love that. I love that. The photo is really bright, so I wanted some more darker, intense colors around the left and right side of the photo, and that's really going to make the photo pop because of the contrast of the colors. I'm going back in with the Jenny B Blue, adding some splatters, because remember, all the butterflies are going to be covering a lot of that area, and so I'm going to add a lot of splatters just to kind of add some detail that you can kind of see in between all the butterflies once they're there. And I may need to add more as I add everything in, but I want to try to get as much as the background done before I glue the butterflies down, because since there are so many of them, you know, it does take a while to place them, and then if I want to add to the background, I have to remove them and go back and forth. And so I want to minimize how many times I have to do that, because there are so many little pieces. And in this case, I can't really glue them all together to move them as one big piece. So it's just every little butterfly for her or himself, and that takes a while. So this is the Snow Way Man color, which is more of a sky blue, not really a turquoise. It's kind of a lighter sky blue. That's just the best way to describe that one, I think. But I like how this is looking. I like it. So here's where I decided to jazz up the yellow. I felt like the yellow, there was just a lot of yellow, and I thought all the mixed media yellow that I've added, just, it wasn't enough. It was just too much of the same color. So I decided to add in some coral shades, and this is a Shimmers Vibes called Mango Tango. And as you can see, it's a very, very vibrant and bold coral color, and it's perfect to add in with the yellow. I'm going to water some of it down just to kind of dilute it a little bit. And I just kind of want this color kind of peeking around the edge of the left of the photo. And I am going to wind up adding some pink to that because I'm just going to, yeah, just keep going with it and see how it looks. And I like that it looks orange. And I know that it looks very bright and very orangey here on the screen because my desk lamps are really bright. So it looks different in person than it does on the screen. Sometimes the colors don't translate as true as they are. This is a lighter pink color that I'm splattering there called Cotton Candy. That's a spritz, and it's really light. You can't even really tell that I added that color because I did dab it up. You can see it now, but it's not so bright that it's gonna show really well through all the butterflies. So this is what I've got so far. I really like it. I'm glad that I added that coral color because there's still plenty of yellow, but I just felt like I needed another color there, and that was the perfect one. Okay, so here's where I'm going to try to add the butterflies back and see how this is going to look so far. Because there's a lot of pink in the butterflies, so I didn't want to have too much pink on the background, so that's why I went with the coral color. A lot of times I look at all the embellishments and things I'm going to use, and if there's an overabundance of one color, I try to use other colors on the background so there's not too much of that one color. So I like this. I like it. I'm going to start to glue the butterflies down. The photo is not glued down yet, but the butterflies, I did not want to remove them. And I do like that there's still a lot of white space because the yellow, the mixed media, all the butterflies, look how pretty. And I only glued down the middle of each butterfly so I can easily bend up the wings because, you know, you got to bend up the wings if you're using butterflies. They got to look like they're flying. Oh, that's just what butterflies do. And yeah, so I love how they're kind of going in different directions from underneath the photo. So in order to add a little bit more of an intense color around the photo, I just pulled out some gelatos here, and I'm using a pink one and an orange one. So there's a little bit of a pink tint to that section, but it's mostly an orangey coral color. And then over here, kind of an aqua color of gelato. And I like using blues and aquas for my pool layouts because I feel like it enhances the effect of the pool photo because pools are blue. Almost always the color of the pool is really, really pretty and vibrant. And I like to have the effect of, you know, the water on my page since I've got the yellow kind of representing the sun and then the other blues representing the sky. I feel like I got to have something that kind of represents the water. And in this case, I don't have a lot of the blue in the photo because it's in there, but it's really light and faded because of the angle of where I was taking the picture and the sun. It was really, really bright. Added some pink thread over to the orange section, and then I'm going to add some yellow thread right here just to add some texture and some little pops of color. I love using thread kind of peeking underneath the photo there. And that part is done, so I'm going to glue that down. And at this point, I feel like I don't need a whole lot more of embellishments because I've got that big chunk of yellow. I've got all the butterflies, all that color, all that pattern. I want to leave the white space mostly white because it needs some rest space for your eyes. There's just so much to look at. I didn't want to clutter up the bottom half of the page. I wanted the focus to be on the photo and the butterflies. So I am going to add a little bit to the left here. In some of the butterflies, there is that dark navy blue color, and I felt like that color needed to be pulled over to the left side of the photo. So I'm using a couple of ephemera die cuts. And then this little arc here that the butterflies create is perfect for a small title. And I tried to use this orange puffy phrase sticker that says happiness is here, but I could not get it stacked to where it looked okay. The P's and the H, I could not nestle them correctly. Jen Scow, if you're listening, you know what I'm talking about, right? If you've never watched Jen Scow's video and you want to know about nestling, you should definitely check out her YouTube channel, Crafty Jen Scow, because she's the queen of making things nestle into each other. And I just could not make it happen right there. So I'm going to wind up changing the title. But yeah, I want it to be small because like I said, I don't want to overcrowd all that white space. And I did decide to add the word love above the photo because it was small and I like the color right there, and it added just a little bit of a fun detail above the photo. And then I added a couple of these puffy heart stickers. I decided to line them up, and I used a light blue, or not light blue, it's more of a turquoise, and then an aqua green color because those two colors are really not on that side of the photo. All right, so here's what I do with the title. I remove the happiness, and then I'm going to go with Adventure Awaits because I like the color of it, and I like that it fits perfectly in this little arc that the butterflies kind of made there. And then as I was looking, I thought, okay, this layout's pretty busy, so I like that the white space down here sort of balances everything out. But I did want to add a little something more, but not too big. So I just went with a couple more of those puffy hearts underneath Awaits, and then took a break and decided that I needed more splatters, apparently. So we're going to come back in with the Jenny B Blue very carefully, strategically, and purposefully add them in certain places. You know, sometimes, you know, when you add your splatters, it's just supposed to go wherever it goes. But I'm trying to be careful because I didn't want to get the blue all over the butterflies. And this is why I was saying earlier, make sure the background is done before you start to glue things down, because otherwise you have to be very, very careful for fear of getting it on something that you don't want it on. But it's okay, you know, it's not going to make or break it if a couple blue dots get on the butterflies. Just more color, I guess. But I added some more of the Glorious Day over to the left. And then I add one more sticker underneath the hearts there, and it's white, and so I feel like it doesn't clutter up the white space. It says play a little, because I thought this was perfect because she was playing in the pool. So that's the only other thing that I'm going to add. So all the bottom white space is going to stay like it is, except for my journaling. This is some of the Jen Hadfield Gold Glitter Spray because I just wanted to add something sparkly to this page. And then I'm going to use my gold metallic pen for my journal because I didn't want to use black because there's not really any black on the page, and I wanted to keep this light and bright and, you know, the feeling of sunshine, and so my gold pen is perfect for that. But that is the final layout. I really love how this turned out. You can see how the intense color around the photo just really makes the photo pop, and then all those gorgeous butterflies. I mean, they basically made this page for me. I love all the dimension, all the patterns and the sizes and the shapes, and just, oh my goodness. I took a lot of close-ups here of all the detail, and I feel like I didn't really do a lot of embellishing on this, but it didn't need it, you know. I wanted the butterflies to shine, I wanted the background to shine, the photo, that beautiful yellow paper, and yeah, don't feel like you have to add something to every single inch of your background or of your layout, you know. It's okay to leave some blank space. It is all good. But yeah, here are all the close-ups. Let me know if you have any questions about anything, and I will be more than happy to answer. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.